What's going on, gamers? Back at it again. We got an actual different type of experience for you today. We're going to be live for about no more than 2 hours because I think better podcasters have discovered or talked about this. As you can see on the left side of the screen, we got YouTube open. We're going to be going over the Killing Games petition that's happening right now. It's a big thing in Europe. I'm here with my friend, good old friend from back in the day. Bowsett, how you doing?
Doing all right. How about you, man?
I'm doing just dandy. I got a drink in one hand and a controller in the other, so I'm ready to get into it. I was going to do Castlevania, but Castlevania requires me to lock in. F-Zero, I can kind of just, kind of think around and we can talk. But we will try to pick up Castlevania towards the end of the video once the major key points are done, because I actually want to get my practice out. Before we do anything, Bowser, can you go ahead and drop the link to the Discord? And then I'll go ahead and make sure the audio levels are good. Matter of fact, I'm gonna turn down F-Zero for it.
Yeah, I almost forgot to mute my TV as well too.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and options here. What sucks because the music is pretty good. Okay, so that can't turn it down. I need to go back to this right here. Unfortunately, F-Zero, you're gonna have to do all this. But it's okay, we'll have to do that. Power of Android. Apple could never. Anyways, not here to shit on Apple, but if you want to, go ahead. All right, thanks for posting that link. So, without further
hmm
delay, let's go ahead and get into this this video. Fair use, everyone. We are playing video games here, so it can't be part of the copyright. We're just chopping it up. I'm probably just gonna do a GP and one death race, and then that should take us about halfway. Bowsett, as always, feel free to chime in if you want me to stop it real quick. I'll go ahead and hit the pause button, and then we can have a discourse. But first, we're going to let the first, I'd say 60 seconds seems safe to let it run, right? Without them try to claim copyright,
I think so.
just for review purposes so they can get the point across.
Yeah,
Okay, so here we
I
go.
don't remember seeing this one before either, so this should be good.
Well, yeah, it's got all the big streamers out there. You know, the what's his name, Moist, and Asman, and then some other people. So, all right, I'm gonna full screen it without taking off F-Zero, and here we go. We're gonna do the first 60 seconds. Apparently, 5 seconds are already in. Let me fix that. All right, here we go.
And there is an initiative that has been aiming to fight back against a lot of these
I forgot to
practices
pause
that
it
I
on the
think
phone.
really need some big overhaul. And it's
Yeah, it's consumer protection laws. This is effectively what this initiative is. At its very core is consumer rights advocacy. It's not about video games. It's not about Ubisoft. It's not about what's in a terms of service of a video game or not. It's really about consumer rights and people having the ability to choose what's going to happen with their own stuff.
initiative that I think a lot of you are probably very familiar with. It's called Stop Killing Games.
That would be a good
and I've
thing.
followed it since its inception. I've talked about it on stream
Yep.
quite a few times,
So have I.
though this is my first video going over it.
Oh.
And I regret that now because I see it wasn't
So
going
there
as
was a
well
part
as
one to
I
this.
thought it was. Admittedly, I didn't follow
I think
how
it's gone very well. I'll be real. Like almost 500,000
I'm
signatures
completely
is a
not sure.
tremendous success.
Are they
But
talking
for those
about
that don't know anything
the
about Stop Killing Games, I'm going to let
Stop
him
Killing
explain it in his
Games?
own words.
Yeah,
that
that
way you can get
petition.
an actual.
All right,
Yeah,
I
okay,
went
the
over it by
petition
like
for
5
the
seconds.
all right.
Almost had it. So go ahead. So, from what your understanding is, while this is pause, actually, no, I'm gonna just leave the side video pause, and then go back to F-Zero so they can't scream copyright. What's your take on
Yeah,
the idea of it so far? And then I'll try to
the
chime in what I
idea
understand.
of it is completely sound. Like I really do appreciate what they're trying to do, but how feasible is it? Is the thing.
You mean monetarily or just overall?
No, I mean overall, period. How are we going to maintain games that for 20, 30 years from now?
Well, aside from regular degradation of just stuff just aging, that's the
hmm
first battle I would think, because I think what they said, DVDs and Blu-rays generally have a shelf life of about maybe 30 years, and that's when like data
Yeah,
loss.
no.
That's when it starts to occur. Like the little bits of data actually start getting ate away from the physical medium.
Mhm.
The second would be, yes, you can make digital copies of like I got F-Zero on 64. You know that. People who know me know I got a 64. This is one of the few games from Nintendo I actually give a shit about still. And it's like, okay, even this, you can only digitally copy something so many times before even that copy gets degraded, right? So then
Yeah.
there's that problem. Not to mention, I guess whatever Nintendo generally does when people try to make money off of like selling pirated games, there's that effect too. You know how long they kind of treat you like the alphabet boys. They'll wait for a while and then they'll just creep up on you when you least expect it and just start hitting you with the shit. So with that being said, my understanding of the stop killing games is, let's say, let's use your example, right? For Need for Speed, you bought the game, the physical disc, and this is before it was damn near mandatory for you to install games on a hard drive, right?
Hmm.
You bought the game, you paid your $49.99 back in the day when it was like that, or maybe it was $59.99, whatever. You paid for it. The fight is saying, hey, I've already paid for this. And yes, I understand the online component is gone, but I should be able to boot this up and just play the campaign for nostalgic sake. I shouldn't have to pay for an online membership to go back and play a game I've already bought damn near a decade ago, if not even greater than a decade. So in the Europe, since they are like super pro consumer right now for whatever reason. I mean, I'm not mad, but they're super pro consumer, and now there's a petition that actually might go forth that says, hey, you need to fix this. It's not like these people are trying to make money off of your IP. They just want to go back and fire up the game. They still have the legitimate console. They're not emulating, even though emulation is not illegal. Even Nintendo lost that legal battle in court. That emulation is not illegal, especially if they already own said digital or media, right? So then, what's the big deal?
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
and to me, it shouldn't matter how a person got a copy of the game, as long as as long as
It's
somebody
not
didn't go to
ill-gotten.
Nintendo servers and steal from the server. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not ill-gotten means or
Yeah,
effects. Yeah.
yeah. So somebody sent me a copy of it, and it's like, hey, I got a copy of this game, and I downloaded it from my own copy. Do you want one so we can play this as well?
And it's weird
You
because
know what I'm
even
saying?
I was gonna say, if anyone who's ever had a Nintendo DS, like the first DS that came out, right? The first
Yeah.
DS that came out, they allowed some. Bro, it even says on the back of the casings, all right, that it says download play. So you can literally, if you bought the game, well, even the CPU was crashing the wall. That's just a hard course. Jesus Christ. Um, Even if you bought the game yourself, if someone had another DS and they were on the same firmware, same everything, you can give them essentially a small copy of the game.
Yeah.
So their
That's
argument,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm agreeing with. Like it was a legit thing. Like they had it as a feature that you can do that. So now you fast forward. Okay, well, guess what? The DS is out of print. They're not making any more. Whatever's in circulation is what it is. It's over, right? So
Hmm.
now it's like, well, you got all these people who are nostalgic, and they're like, well, look, I really don't have time for games anymore. I just want to go back and just run it one time. Even if you're not playing with people, you just want to run it one time. Back to
Yeah.
the Need for Speed example, you're locked out. Apparently, they made everything server side, their server side, which again is now defunct because it just reached its what do you call it, end of life, right? So
Yeah.
now you're stuck with this digital asset or physical asset, since it's a bit of an older game that we're talking about, and you can't access it because you don't have Xbox Live. The Xbox 360 is over. That era is over, but you still have the game. Well, the argument is I should be able to still play this and boot it up whenever I feel like it. Why do I need to be beholden to you when I've already given you the price of entry? And so that's the argument.
Hmm.
And then there's some people like this guy who's apparently the son of someone from Blizzard or something like that. And it sounds like he's pro corporation because he's trying to restructure the argument. Oh shit, I died. He's trying to restructure the argument as like you should take online only games that are offline and make them convert them to single player. And that's not the argument. And
You
that's
talking
what
about Power Software?
yeah, that guy. That's the fourth person. Yeah, the other
Yeah,
person. That's what I
that
said.
douchebag.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you got some words for him, huh?
I fucking hate that dude.
Okay, well,
I saw him on streaming on Twitch for like maybe 10 seconds,
okay.
and instantly could not stand this motherfucker's attitude, the way he speaks, even the way his face looks. I just want to grab the keyboard
His face looks. He
and beat
sounds
the
like
shit out
Kendrick.
of him with his own keyboard.
I'm sorry, Bowser. You sounded like Kendrick right there. I hate the way that you talk, the way that you dress, the way that you walk. You literally sounded like you
Yeah.
dropping bars. I swear to God, that's the first thing I heard. I was like, dude, are you doing bars right now? Oh, I got 2 kills. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I just had to jump in right there, man. So that
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it, though, man. It's like people like him, they don't deserve a public platform.
okay.
Because all they do is just spout nothing but lies and try to misdirect and mislead people.
I mean,
And
go
I
ahead.
saw a video earlier that was talking about him, man, and it further just kind of reiterated why I hate this dude. So he's one of those people that, to me, when the second I see them, I'm like, there's something off about this guy
What, like autistic
or
off
this
or something
girl.
else?
No, I mean like off as in disturbing off. Like, there's some kind of criminal activity going on. He or she's on drugs, something like that.
Damn,
Like
talk
you can
about
just see,
judging a book by its
you
cover.
can see it, and you can tell. No, they have all the fucking, the hallmarks, the markers of having some serious issues.
Oh, like you could tell this kid was strangling cats at a young age.
Yeah, that type of thing.
Mm.
And there was a YouTube channel about that as well. Believe it or not.
There's a YouTube channel for just about anything, honestly. Just like there's an app for just about anything. But is that your remarks before we hit the play button? That's from what you are judging from the cover of this guy?
Oh, it's not just judging from the cover; it's his own words.
Oh. Well then. Well, let's pick up the video then. Let's see if it matches.
Dude's a fucking douchebag.
Because I don't know the guy. I only heard about him because apparently he's an opponent of this petition.
And apparently he's a crappy programmer too.
Well, I'll let you have that word on that one. So let's run the video let's try 1:30 and see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully I don't get copyright.
Go ahead.
Asmon, I'm just saying fair use, bro. Penguins, just saying fair use because we're trying to talk about it because we're trying to figure out it from the other side. Just like y'all, because y'all are roughly the same age as us. So it's like,
I don't think Asmongold will have an issue with it anyway.
You think
it wouldn't matter.
Oh.
It wouldn't matter how big or small we are,
All right. Well, let's run it.
Correct, informed explanation of what the initiative is. And the reason I say it like that, kind of like fucking all, pinky out, snooty, is because a lot of people don't even really know what this is because of people like Pirate Software completely misrepresenting.
Oh. Judging from that reaction, that's not good.
Oh, jeez.
That's not good.
They bringing him up. Uh-oh.
So wait, Asmon knows about him then, huh?
Representing what the initiative was.
As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers.
Yeah.
I'll pause right there. The simplest, bare bones, birthday suit, butt-ass naked explanation for what this is. Stop destroying things.
The initiative for Stop Killing Games is to serve the purpose of stopping companies of
this guy
games.
that's on the screen right now in the video, he's the one that started the petition
that people
for saving
games to own.
Yeah. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think this is a video I saw earlier.
Very reasonable.
Oh, okay. Well, then good. Then it's gonna make the conversation
now, I want
to
quickly jump to a different spot
in
this video because I think it's important to have this in the beginning because it's something a lot of people have heard that comes from someone that is just wrong about it. It's the Pirate Software portion.
Is he coming? Is it because he's coming from a privileged background? Because his daddy
pretty much owns.
I remember watching this.
Ross even says that he didn't plan on doing that because
I think so. Yeah.
He didn't want to be.
I want to say
that
Pirate Software was a nepo baby, and he's pretty much cosplaying as a programmer.
Like a legitimate initiative and more of just like drama slop content.
He's worked on games before,
but he finally starts talking about Pirate
Software. From what I
understand
from people that actually do coding from time to time, or on bigger games than what he's worked on,
willing to do anything to try and set the record
he's
straight
pretty well
and
shit at
hopefully
it.
start getting more momentum back to the movement, because the damage Pirate Software did to it through his video.
Okay, so he's talking about the damage right now.
And I remember this video was
I'm gonna have
actually
to
one
keep
of
the
the first
volume
points where
down on my
Pirate
phone as well,
Software's
because
audience.
I can't hear
I have that.
Okay.
the video, like from my TV or anything like that either.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Bro, I have that same one. Holy fuck! I didn't even know that.
I don't know. What did he even point out? Like
Same
a
room.
flag or
Yeah,
something?
what the fuck? That's kind of damn. Is he in your house? I guess so. I guess so. Okay, so anyway, I forgot even what I was saying. Oh, yeah. So this video was very polarizing with Pirate Software's audience. And it was one of the big points where, like, I mean, now people don't like Thor, but, like, back then, people were very positive about him. And that video was one of the first points of difference that he had with his audience. You guys remember this?
Not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
So for those who don't understand,
Okay, here we go.
Stop
This is the
Killing
plot
Games
right here.
initiatives
SKG.
is basically we don't want single-player games
No.
to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to
No.
be about specifically games where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists. Instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is.
No.
Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing
Oh, he
Games
just didn't
is a
read it.
consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
Yes.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right.
Okay, so
Ross
let's run
is
this
correct.
back real quick.
This has nothing to
that's the
do with
summary
just
right there.
single player only.
And he was Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers.
There it is. There it is. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. Now, here's the thing. How far back are we talking? Because, Pong, Atari, Missile Command, and all the other stuff is well over 30 years old. And I think we were talking about it the other day where, you had to mute your mic. Oh, okay, no problem. Then we'll take it bit by bit for right now until you get your stuff back up. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Unmuted, got the volume back up on my headphones now.
Okay, good.
It was the setup's odd because Discord is through my phone, and I can barely hear the video if I have it on headphones.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to mute and then unmute the TV so I can actually hear the video, and then swap it back and forth.
Yeah, you got a crazy setup there, bud. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's wild.
But there's the petition right there in black and white. My thing is, how far back are they trying to go? Because, like I said, you have games that are well over 30 years old that are digital medium that are on physical.
I think it's starting, basically like the month the petition was started.
Oh shit! I hit the wrong.
Only like this year, maybe last year,
But the movement
and moving forward. Because if you try to go back in time, basically since the early 80s to current, it's going to be an impossible task to try to, restore and, make games still available.
Right, because I remember you were
for
saying something
40
about
years.
they wanted the arcade at home, and they wanted to be able to charge you almost
Yeah,
infinitely at any moment, anytime you fire that sucker up, right? So
yeah,
when they realized that's kind of, well, one, very deceitful, and two, not
mhm.
really plausible because just look
Yeah.
how
The
fiber
technology
works
just
now.
wasn't there.
Yeah,
The technology just was not there at the time, and it's still not here now.
got a double
I
kill.
mean, look how bad Google Stadia failed, and that's a multi-million-dollar international corporation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
Stadia failed
still we
hard.
can't get decent gaming online in the fucking home
Well, yeah, it's always going to
unless
be
you're
that
playing on
latency
PC.
issue for sure. Like just signal strength, let alone your position in
Holy
the
hell!
world. It's
Mm,
there's a lot of factors involved there.
yeah, it's not just the factors. You know, as far as countries are concerned and stuff like that. It's the home the I want to say the home system, but the parent company that you're having to deal with too. Because Microsoft, if they ever got up off their ass, they could do something, really, really dangerous in the gaming industry and stop being woke pieces of shit. That would be the first step. Get rid of the Xbox Live, Xbox Game Pass, put everything in the store in an eShop like what Nintendo does. Sell all of it for between $1 to $50, and have that be your set price range. Don't go over 50 unless it's some kind of super special thing, that can only be done digitally. You know what I'm saying?
Sort of, because I think they did that, but then they shut down the eShop though.
They had it, but they didn't really try
You talking about
because
we're talking
a
about
lot of
Microsoft, right?
they started it in the 360 area, and as soon as it didn't really kick off then because the system sucked. you
Plus
know,
the Red Ring of Death that didn't help.
yeah, it was a terrible console. Just like you said, the R Rod. So what are people gonna play the at home arcade with if this console can't fucking stay on longer than 10 minutes without it killing itself?
I mean, to their effect, yes,
So
it
like,
was a
well,
failure, but they did fix it. They did fix it.
yeah, they fixed the console, but at the time they gave up on Xbox Live Arcade as well. I can't tell you how many games that I used to have on that. I had Mortal Kombat and all kinds of crap.
Are you talking about classics, or are you talking about like modern day interpretations?
Classic. They had classics on there,
Okay, just wanted to be clear
and
for the
they
audience.
actually ran pretty good too,
I'm
which
pretty
was
sure
a
it's
surprise.
just Windows, or at least probably a watered down version of Linux that looks like Windows.
Yeah, I think it was oh my god, what was that shell that they put over Linux a long time ago?
I know PlayStation did the cell processor.
Something. I think it was something to do with something star.
You got me on that. I don't know.
I can't remember. It was a shell that they put over Linux to kind of the same way that they get games to work on Apple.
They have the same architecture.
No, not the same architecture, but the same process, the same concept.
Mm. Okay.
How Proton works on Steam
Hmm.
for the Steam Deck. You put a shell over it, and an intermediary program that gives you what's the word I'm looking for? You
It's like a
your
container
controller
for.
input.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We used to do
A
that for
configure.
editing when we needed to say, "Oh, what's up, Keg? Is this like
Welcome, Keg.
stream
I see you
caption?"
in there.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Stream caption. But hey,
Pretty-
yeah, I don't know what that means. But yeah, the that's what I'm saying. We used to do that for editing, where like certain file formats can only be read by something, so you kind of make like
Yeah,
this faux container just for it to read. And if you're lucky, it'll just run smoothly, and then you get your product out, you export it, and you just keep it pushing, right? But
exactly.
but for this, it's like, I think the guy that we were talking about, the Thor guy, is like adamant against all of it, even though he
Yeah,
miss.
he is.
Yeah, that's what I say. So he must be a corporate shill, right?
Yeah, he is. He
Okay.
100% is. He's just a piece of shit with long hair.
Also, thanks, Keck, for stopping by. Thank you again, Bowser, for co-streaming with this one. Let's run the video and just see what else what else is going on here. Just make sure we ain't missing nothing because they probably answered some of the stuff we were talking about. But it's nice to have dialogue about it. Maybe we're just to see if we're spot on. You know what I mean?
Movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
Yes.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just
Streamception. Yes, 100%
only
Streamception.
games
It's also
that
multiplayer.
require an online
Sure.
connection.
Don't
that
forget
when
your
the
totem,
online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. They need to be more specific in their language about it being single player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that. Because that is not what they are specifically targeting.
It's the most
It is
clear-cut
about the whole
case, but
practice
yeah.
of destroying games that consumers have already purchased and having no end-of-life plans for games that are being sunset. So, for example, The Crew. The Crew is an example everyone
The
is
Ubisoft
going to
one.
reference and talk about because
I wanted to
Ubisoft
play
is
The
still
Crew so
currently
bad,
in a
too.
lawsuit battling against
looked like
it
it
for
was
what
gonna be
happened
fun.
with this game.
Yes.
Especially
I've
for us
yapped
car
about it quite a
guys.
bit, so I'm not just going to regurgitate that. I'm sure a lot of you already know this story about it. But basically, you buy The Crew, Ubisoft pulls the plug on the servers. You can't play The Crew anymore. Now it's just an old wet dream of what once was. And they are facing a lawsuit. And while this is in the umbrella of Stop Killing Games, it is not the only thing Stop Killing Games is
Crew did look fun.
referencing
Yeah,
when
it
it
looked
comes
very
to this
fun. I
practice.
was hoping that me and you could play
Pirate
it.
Software is so hung up on it being
Hopefully they had the
single-player
Tiburon in there,
games
but,
that
you know,
people lose
that's just
access
wishful
to,
thinking.
when that is a component of it, but not the entire focus.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, right? I mean, obviously, that's it.
Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support. So that's one
And
thing.
this is something that affects online games and also offline games. Or single-player games.
Thor doesn't understand.
Yeah.
But he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single-player.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single
See,
player,
that's where I think
rebuilding
people get
everything
pissed
in
off
the
with this
entire game.
part
How are you
right
going to
here.
do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make...
I don't think that it was ever stated that it needed to be sunset as a single-player experience. I don't think anybody ever said that.
All right, so I'm gonna pause
Like,
it here.
I mean, again,
So,
like the publisher maintaining the
and,
server seems like that
Bowser,
would be
you
like
guys
a
can jump in
logical
right now.
question that you would.
And Keg, if you want to join the call, you can jump in. I'll just send you an invite. But Bowser, if you want, you can bring your mic back. Oh my God, I back pressed it again. I keep clicking the wrong window. But yeah. What's your guys' take on that? Let's see if I can get back to it. Come on. Huh? History? Yeah, but since I truncated the window, I got to get to the tab. There we go.
To sunset live service games as a single-player experience.
All right. So if y'all want to chime in, now's the time to chime in. I paused it, and then I'll put it back on full screen as well. But I think this guy is probably acting like just a misinformation agent overall. We literally just saw
100% he is.
we literally just saw, so I don't even know what the argument here is. I don't even know if this is going to be a full video because it's blatant. It's just blatant disinformation. Oh my God!
Yeah, he's 100% lying to everybody.
Yeah. Oh, Keg said that's all right.
That's what I said. He's just a piece of shit with long hair. And then his argument like with Final Fantasy and stuff like that, dude. How many MMORPGs have there been in existence? You know, especially since basically the N64 era going forward.
You
that
can
have
go
been
before
MMO.
that. Before that.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about
The
gaming.
idea that
Period. Like
okay.
3D gaming.
Oh,
That's
okay.
out.
Gotcha.
Since from the 64 era forward, because you think about it, Final Fantasy was supposed to be on the N64 in the first place, but
Which
it
one?
would take like the what was it? Final Fantasy
7?
5, 6? No, 7. Yeah, it was 7.
The one
Final
with
Fantasy
Cloud?
7 was supposed to be on the N64. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
Originally, it was supposed to be on the N64, and it would take like 20
Okay.
fucking cartridges at least
You
for
know
the
what? It
game to
was 4
even be
disc.
on there.
It was 4 disc because
But,
8 and 9 were 4 disc.
yeah. So if you think about it, some things can be, you can take liberty with it and get it to work. But when a game by itself is so massive, just in the combat alone, there's not really that much you can do with it, and you have to, abandon one form factor and move to another. That's kind of where what's his name? Pirate Software's argument is coming from.
We can just call him the dude
But when you,
because I don't know what his
but
name is.
when you already got an established format for just say Final Fantasy and MMO, you can bring it down and refocus it a lot easier when you already have something that's kind of comparable to it. You understand what I'm trying to get at?
I do, but I always thought the
It
64 was
doesn't.
more
It,
powerful than the PlayStation, the original one.
yeah, it's more powerful, but
Because they even had an
it's the
expansion
form
pack for
factor
it.
of the media size.
Oh, even
You
Keg
can
said,
only put
go ahead.
so much on a cart, but when you have to expand to a disc, the disc already has like 10 times as much information in one disc, and then you can put it on a cart. And then for Final Fantasy VII, you needed 3 other fucking discs to go with it too.
Yeah,
So imagine how many Nintendo 64 carts you would need for the entire game. To
maybe
sit there
double.
and be hot swapping.
Maybe double.
No,
Oh,
I think you needed like 20 or 30 carts for it to
well,
actually have all of Final Fantasy on the 64.
I'm gonna read Keg's comment real quick because he said it should do the same thing with Final Fantasy, and I think he means in the or not Final. Well, Final Fantasy First Soldier, the game that we were playing. Remember when we had like tournaments and stuff for? They should do the
Yeah,
same thing because they basically end of lifed it or end of serviced it at the point where they were just getting the bugs worked out, getting balancing patches in. They even had a paid tournament that all of us
that's
in Red Team.
so bad.
Yeah, it crushed poor Keg. It really did because he missed Sebastian.
Oh
He's
my
probably gonna
god.
yell into the chat in a minute. I'm pretty sure of it. But yeah,
No,
but
but
so
what I'm saying
go
is,
ahead.
if you have a one game that's an MMO, doesn't matter the name, the genre, any other particulars about it. If it's an MMO, you can take that idea, the concept, and base it off of another game that is similar. You can kind of reskin the way a game operates to be, single player, or from multiplayer to single player, and back and forth, vice versa.
And there it
As long as
is.
you have similar, you can, find workarounds to get it to be offline and be functional.
We're gonna pour one out for Sebastian. I can't really stream because my windows are open, but yeah, we remember Sebastian. Keg, don't even trip. We remember. But yeah, you're right. It's if you're gonna go that route, or at least in this, is his name Thor or is it Pirate? I don't know. Like, is that even his real name, or is
I
his
don't know if
gamer
it's
tag?
Thor or not.
Because first Asmund
It
said
could be
Thor.
gamer tag or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, because Asmund said Thor, and then the other guy, Moist, said Pirate. So I don't know, whatever the dude.
Well, his Twitch stream is like the pirate something. Uh, what was it? Pirate software. The pirate software or pirate software, something like that.
Okay. Oh, and then if that's his gamer tag, come on, it's a bit on the nose, isn't it? The Pirate Software, and then
Mm-hmm.
he's going, okay, whatever. So we just don't take this guy serious. We already know he's a misinformation agent. My thing is, I thought he had a valid point when he was saying, do not. Why would you take online only built games and make them single player? And then I was like, okay, I can kind of
Because
see
a
where
lot
your
of times
argument is.
MMOs like that are still great as single player.
But
It's like saying
mhm.
you can't play Metroid Prime on the GameCube because it's single player. You should take that and make it massively multiplayer online. It would be better. You see what
That's a
I'm
bad
saying?
example, but I think where you're going for, because
You know what I mean?
yeah, I think I know what you're getting at. But my thing is, if you're gonna do that, or if he's gonna present that as the I guess the nexus of what this petition is supposed to be, then why
But that's not what it is, though.
right? That's what I'm saying. If that's the case, if that's what he's trying to do, and then you can literally just go to the website and just look at what it is. It's on the front page. We just saw it. Then you should just write this dude off. I don't care if he is the son of some Blizzard whatever thing, right? He's a misinformation agent, point blank, period. You know, and in the service we would just call them.
He's
mops.
the kid in the playground that's always saying my uncle works for Nintendo.
Damn, that perfect analogy. That's what it is.
He's a little rat bastard that always makes up something that sounds like it's completely plausible. And then you go home and you figure it out that this little fucking bitch was lying.
Oh, and Keg clarified it too. He said his stream tag is pirate software, and he goes by Thor. Okay, thanks for clearing it up, Keg, because I was confused.
That's what I thought it was too.
We're gonna pick up the video. I don't think we need to do 51 minutes of this. It might just be beating the dead horse. So we'll probably go to about the 15-minute mark, and I think we're good here because they already showed the, I guess if you want to call it the big reveal, right? It's on the website what the petition is. So all thing now we're just going to see how much of a bastard this guy is and how much he's going to be discredited because, again.
I had to stop watching. I had to stop watching this earlier.
Okay.
It's so terrible.
So then I'm just going to run it for, it's 8:01 now, so I'm going to run it for 7 more minutes, and then we're just going to call it a wrap. I just want to see what else he was saying in terms of, you know, how this is damaging, because apparently he does have a sizable following, and
it's not damaging to anybody. That's the thing, though.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Okay.
All it's gonna do is just allow people to play something that they've already paid for, which should be a basic right.
Right. Well, let's
and if
see
you
what,
want
let's see what
after
else they
this,
say.
show the video that I sent you of Need for Speed.
You know what? I think I will. I'll just have to. I'll close that out with that. So let's just finish this
Mm-hmm.
To the 15-minute mark. Then I'll run your video just to show people like what we were talking about and what other people are complaining about as far as stop killing the games.
Suddenly,
I'm gonna mute real quick and then
I don't think
swap
that
it
it
back
was
to the
ever
TV.
stated that it
Copy
needed
that.
to be sunset as a single player experience. I don't think anybody ever said that. I mean, again, like the publisher maintaining the server seems like that would be like a logical question that you would ask. But making every game single player, I don't really see why you'd need to think about that, considering there's so many locally run servers for all kinds of games, including WoW.
Every single live service game playable single player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
It was implied.
This part is more confusing than Finnegan's Wake, because nowhere in anything on Stop Killing Games has this even been like a talking point from anyone besides Pirate Software. I don't know where he pieced this puzzle together. Like I don't get it. Like if I'm gonna try and like really reach here and give like a charitable explanation for this take, maybe he's extrapolating based on the idea that if publishers have to have end-of-life plans for their games, that includes MMOs, where once the game is getting sunset, you're pulling the plug on it.
Like they did with First Soldier.
Turn the game over to the community in a playable state.
That would have been dope. They should just gave it to us.
The code to
we would have had a good time
Thus,
with it.
It turned it into a single-player experience, so the onus would be on the developers to rebalance their game to be a single-player experience for them. I guess. I have no idea. That still just doesn't make it.
I think also another reason why that discussion was happening is that a lot of the conversation around the Stop Killing Games devolved into single player versus multiplayer and who can host servers and how. Like, it wasn't actually in the initiative, but after the initiative was presented, people were talking about those topics.
Oh, no way, bro.
But maybe that's the tree he's barking up with that
shit. I was hauling ass on lap 3.
I really don't know.
That
because
happened.
Stop Killing Games at no point ever says any of these multiplayer games need to be converted to single player.
Yeah, nobody said that.
That really is outlandish. And the more I think about it, like the more nonsensical it becomes, because even in Pirate Software's hypothetical fanfic there, why would the developers need to rebalance the game? They would just turn over the code to the community and just it'd be in that state. They're no longer responsible for balancing the game. That's the whole point. They're not indefinitely supporting it. They would just be responsible of leaving the game in an accessible state to the community while they would shut down the servers on their end. Like, they wouldn't need to go back through with a whole development team and, like, you know, tweak the game to be single-player compatible. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Well,
like,
if the thing is, if you had a community server, then the community server could do that themselves. Like, you have all kinds of, like, WoW private servers that have solo raids and all kinds of weird
people
bullshit
still do Halo
in them
private
now.
servers.
So
for Halo
really,
1 and
it's
2,
not something
just
that
'cause
the
they love the
developer
game.
would really need to do, because as long as people were able to host and run their own servers, this could be done by the community for the community.
I really do not understand that one. But apparently a lot of people latched onto that talking point from Pirate Software as something that Stop Killing Games was asking for and how unreasonable it was. Which, if that's what Stop Killing Games was asking for, it would be unreasonable.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's asking for.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact
Uh-oh.
That dude's
He
frustrated.
never has that light bulb moment. Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
I know this part is
Yeah,
once again...
and this is again, this was an outcome of the dialogue around it whenever it came out. Because, like, whenever this video came out, I watched the same video myself, and a lot of people were drawing a distinction between how would this apply to single-player games versus multiplayer games. I think that's probably why he was talking about it. But
yeah, I remember that.
Like,
it is still active.
Ross is right that it applies to all games.
I thought I was going to sign up for that, but then I found some of the games.
it was a dichotomy that was never actually. It was created by the community and not by the actual
We got 3 more
initiative,
minutes of it.
if that makes sense. So there was a community conversation about that difference, but the initiative never stated or explained the difference themselves.
And just reinforcing that he doesn't know what the Stop Killing Games movement is about. But I have to just show you this because it is so fascinating, because he himself literally calls out that Stop Killing Games at no point explicitly mentions single-player always online games or anything like that. And for some reason, instead of following the breadcrumbs that would naturally lead him to the conclusion of, oh, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe, because it's absent here, that's not what this is actually about.
I just killed Captain
Instead,
Falcon.
he uses it as a criticism against the Stop Killing Games initiative entirely, saying it's just too vague. It's way too vague. The
Also, he's
reason it is
doubling
not
down on his
explicitly
ignorance.
stated there
That's
is because
what's
that is
happening,
not
huh?
what the whole initiative is about. It is not specific.
Well, it's also because an initiative like that doesn't like that is legally defined by a governing body. Like, basically, we're not like this initiative is not legal text. The initiative is something that we are effectively trying to communicate to developers, or sorry, to the government, in order for them to translate this initiative into legal text. And so it's really not about the specific wording. It's about what the essence of the wording is and what the goal is what the goal they're trying to achieve is. Like, very clearly, this wasn't written by a lawyer, and it would be debated between probably dozens of lawyers whenever it would be discussed. It's not a law. Yeah, exactly. Like, the reason why it's not hyper precise is because it's not a law. It's to start the conversation. Yes, clearly.
Targeting that thing that you keep saying that it is. I don't know how that never clicked.
But those were his streams with a smaller audience. What does he say in his big
I
YouTube
bumped
video
into
with
him. I
over
could've
a
got that.
million
I could've had
views
first
that he has
place.
time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player
it's 20
experience,
seconds
and then
left.
taking away support in the future,
Yeah.
Now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single-player games are advertised. What is he doing?
it needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically
All right, so
companies
that's
that
it.
are doing this
Bowser, if you
under
wanna
the
come back on
guise of
mic,
it
we're gonna
being a
end it here, bro.
single-player game.
He's just shilling. That's it. There's a lot more going on with JT and them than what this dude's talking about. And I get what you mean by some of those hallmarks of certain stereotypes and qualities. Yeah, you can tell he got a little something going on there, bro. Like, I strangled the neighbor's cat a couple times. I didn't really kill it. I just let it know who's boss. So yeah, I don't think we need to go any further. I thought this was gonna be a little bit longer, which is nice because it frees up some time. I'm gonna try to get back online later today and do Castlevania. I got to handle some other business first. But yeah, I thought this was like a bigger deal, but it's not. I think if Asmin or whoever was hosting the first stream was kind of milking along, and then we got to the big reveal. But as soon as they pulled up the website, that was it. Because I heard about it. I didn't go to the website. I tried to wait until we had this stream, so we can kind of discuss it. But it seems like a lot of people already know this dude's, like you said, a retard, and he's it's either a multi thing or it's one of the singular things. Either he's a misinformation agent, he's corporal shilling, or he's a retard. It's all three, and it seems like it's all three.
I think it's all three. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know it was that bad. Like I said, you can see where the gray timeline is. We're good. We don't need to watch it. Oh, I just realized they put the little characters next to the ship. I didn't know they did that.
You see, parents, this is why you don't shake your baby. They might turn out to be like Thor.
I'm sorry. I got something brand new here. I didn't know they put the little. Did I miss the last Grand Prix one on one? Did they do that in the last one? I might have to run the stream back, but they had like the little caption cards and them talking, and the characters getting out the ship. I don't even remember that back in '97. Maybe I missed it.
I think it did. Yeah.
Anywho, thanks everyone for watching. This was kind of a nothing burger, but at the same time, a warning to like watch out for people on the internet. Not everyone on the internet is obviously for your interests or your betterment, if you will. This cat is actually literally a case book of misinformation agent, but doing a shitty job of it.
So if you live in the EU, sign the petition.
Yeah. I mean, look, the EU got the lightning cable removed from iPhones. Let that sink in.
Torn about the lightning cable. To me, it wasn't that bad. I had no issues with it until the EU decided to fuck it up for everybody else.
Right, like if they just kept it to the EU, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they converted it. So basically, what I want to point out is like, even though the EU is very pro-consumer, Kevin, said dude looks like from Metalocalypse. He kind of does, but not in a good way. He's like a weak version of it. But yeah, it just shows the power that the people still have power. It's kind of like what Lou Rossman's been talking about, consumer rights. Everyone is a consumer at some point. You can't really escape it. It is the human culture at this point, because everyone needs something that someone might sell at some point, whether actively or passively, or you're going to engage with it. So we have a consumer culture, but that does not mean you're powerless. This is a good point of, hey, people are paying attention now. You can't hide, and the internet is the world's biggest telephone. So if you try to say some stupid shit, it's not hard to pick up the phone and be like, hey man, did you hear about this? And that's based on that old axiom of, the monkey on the island theory. I'm pretty sure you're well aware of it. But for people who don't know, like, eventually you have a monkey on one island. They find out how to open up coconuts. Well, the monkeys on the other side of the world really don't know how to do it, but eventually that knowledge gets transferred around the world some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So the internet is just a faster version of that. That's all it is. So you can have the closing thoughts, man. Sorry to waste your time. I thought this was going to be something else. I thought this was.
Oh no, it's all good, man.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like I said a few minutes ago, man. If you're in the EU and you want to do something, that will actually help people in the future with games and stuff like that, basically with entertainment as a consumer, altogether, this is where it starts, right here, right now. Petitions like this, no matter what, actually happens in the end, it shows that, we're not going to take it anymore. We're already starting to fight back. Stop robbing us of our fucking money. If you want us to pay for something, again, then come out with a new product. Stop, rehashing all the old shit. We've already paid for it once. Leave us the fuck alone. Not every game is The Last of Us. We don't need like 7 different versions of the whole shit.
There really
again.
is multiple versions of that. But the same could be said for Final Fantasy VII. and other like
Yeah.
big name titles like the Star Wars games. Like, how many Lego Star Wars do you need? You know?
Everything after Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 4 or 5.
Unless you're changing which I don't say change the core formula, but unless you're gonna expand the core formula, you don't have to even evolve it. You can just expand it in a different direction.
Well, it needs to,
Then
it
it's
needs to have
different.
some type of evolution, evolution, expansion, something completely new.
Yeah. Because I'm
Stop being lazy about this shit.
because I'm all for the like let's before we close it out. Like I said, I wanted to give you the closing arguments on the stop killing games thing, but since we kind of segued a little bit, let's just say this, and like I said, I'll give you the closing arguments. And by the way, Keg and Bowser, can you please put the Discord links into the chat for anyone who comes back for the replay gang? So I'm gonna say this, then Bowser, you got closing arguments. It's just like the evolution of cars. Cars, they got a little more horsepower, but the speed limit's still the same. But they evolved on the idea of what the car can do. Is it going to be
Exactly.
a much more supple ride, or the power delivery? How how you can use forced induction to get you up to speed, or how it feels to get to that speed. It's an evolutionary thing. You're not reinventing the wheel. Cars still need wheels. It needs oil, things like that. You're not evolving it in that manner. But what you are evolving is the experience. What you can expand on is, okay, well, with these new rules and regulations about how vehicles need to be safer for pedestrians, that's why cars are getting fatter and wider, because people are just getting hit a lot more, apparently. Because it definitely ain't helping EPA standards, that's for sure.
That shit needs to stop. I
It
call that natural selection.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna let you have the closing arguments. I'm just gonna say the evolution the evolution in at least the car department is more of the experience of you in the vehicle before it becomes a complete compliance. Because with self-driving and auto lane changing and stuff like that, that stuff is to evolving your experience while driving. So you got the final word on at least the car segment. We'll try to pick this up another day, but you got it. Go ahead, bud.
Well, you summed it up as best as anybody can. I can't really add anything else to it.
For sure. And thanks for dropping the link. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate all the
Mhm.
active watchers and the ninja watchers. The next time I go live, we will be doing Castlevania again. I want to get my skills up, but I got to get some work done before business takes care of me. I'm trying to take care of business. You get it? But
Yeah.
I'll catch y'all on the next one, and be safe. And yeah, man, just watch out for false agents like this guy.